Hi, I'm Sam. It's early in the morning on Friday, the deadline day for this submission, and I only found out about it yesterday afternoon from a tweet that I saw by Tim Ferriss. So I'm scrambling to get everything done. I'm trying to probably just do this in one take if I can, and I think if you could see the way I've rigged an iPhone to a SodaStream bottle with a couple C-clamps, if there was a way for me to show you that, you'd probably want to invest on the spot. No further discussion. I thought I'd use this time to just give you a little bit of background about me. So I grew up in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I've been coding since I was a junior in high school. I went to Rice University and graduated barely with a computer science degree. Mostly what I did when I was at Rice was play rugby, which was a sport I discovered when I was a freshman, and it was just probably the best it was the best learning experience for me of my whole school career. I was the captain my senior year, and we were competitive on a regional level, which is kind of a big thing for such a small school. I've always been a technology guy. This BadJupiter is not my first startup, and it won't be my first successful startup either. I worked for about 3 years at Goldman Sachs. I started on the technology side, and then I was moved to a little business group, strategy group that was trying to figure out electronic trading back in the day when electronic trading was a novel concept and the big banks were trying to figure out how to use it as a competitive advantage. So based on what I was able to see going on in the industry and our competitors and our customers and what they were trying to do, I saw an opportunity to build some enterprise software. So I left Goldman in 2000 and started a little software company to build solutions specifically for these really big financial institutions to help them trade with each other. We grew that company. We raised a couple of rounds of funding, grew it for about 7 years, and then sold it to the New York Stock Exchange, which was one of our big customers at the time that they were merging with Euronext and trying to figure out kind of new strategic businesses to get into. So my company was at that point about 45 people. We had offices in New York and London, Singapore, Hong Kong, Chicago. So it was a real thing, and it was a real experience. And my role there as CEO and founder was kind of less about in the weeds technology and more about working with customers and product strategy and sales and fundraising and dealing with investors and all that other kind of stuff. So I have quite a bit of experience with this. I stayed at NYSE for about a year. I was an executive vice president in charge of a new business line after the acquisition. It was basically about building commercial technology products to sell. We did a couple other acquisitions. My group did after I got there, and after about a year we were in a position where we had multiple co-CEOs, co-heads of businesses that weren't agreeing, and we were spending more time on internal politics than we were on getting stuff done, and I got fed up, and so I left. And I spent some time, I stayed based in New York City, but I spent some time traveling and working on my photography, and did a little bit of exhibiting and even selling some of my photography work, and started to really think about this idea that became BadJupiter when I was doing that. So 3 years ago, I moved back to Tulsa. I found an old 100-year-old rock house on a hill above the river on Route 66 and thought it might be a fun change of scenery to come back and fix up an old house. So I moved back. I did fix up the old house, and since about January of last year, so for the last 16 months, I've been working on BadJupiter. It's been my full-time job. I got an office where I can work with no distraction. I can have my things around me, and I come here every single day, and I treat it just like a full-time job, and it's just me. In retrospect, 16 months in, I think if I had a partner or two, I might have gotten to where I am in a little bit straighter line than I did. But I thought at the time there were just some things I needed to figure out around architecture and design stuff. I needed to do some validation with a small handful of friendly users. I needed to tweak the models and do all that. And I think I feel pretty good about where I've gotten to now. And I wanted to own it, so I've funded it myself. It's completely mine, and I'm at the stage now where it's time to both find some employees, but also find some funding. So just quickly, why, of all the different ways I could fund something like this, I would be interested in the incubator model. I think that there's two components of funding. as far as I'm concerned. One is the money itself, which is important as I'm starting to grow and scale, but the other is the network. And I think what's going on that's really interesting, especially as it relates to this business, is there's an entire ecosystem evolving around conversational software, and I need to be on the radar. I'm sitting here in lonely Tulsa, Oklahoma, building something that's very cool, and I'm doing my best to get out to the right trade shows and put my stickers in the bathroom walls of all the bars that I go to and all that kind of stuff. But I need to be plugged into an ecosystem, and I need helpful investors that are connected that can help me do that. So that's why I think this is kind of felt right when I saw the application and the group, and I thought I should quickly get a submission in. So here's my submission, and that's me, and I hope to hear from you. Thanks.